Shipmates, your C&P John Naval here. It's late Saturday afternoon here in Washington, D.C. Wherever you're at in the world, deployed, ashore, at sea, I'd just like to start by saying thank you for your service and the service and sacrifice of your families. Here at My Navy HR, we're doing everything we can to keep the lines of communication open to you and your families. We want to be sure that our policies support everyone on our military and civilian team. Shortly, we'll be posting an updated NAV admin to our Facebook page, which will consolidate some of the guidance that we've put out over the last week. Things have been moving quickly. We have a lot of NAV admins out there, and so we're going to consolidate them to make it easier for you and for our COs and for everyone to understand what's going on. Here's a recap of some of those major actions that we've taken to minimize the effects of the coronavirus. We've significantly limited PCS travel to only the most mission-critical movements in accordance with the stop order issued by the Secretary of Defense. We've suspended advancement exams, selection boards, and canceled the spring PFA. We've turned off RTC graduation ceremonies and other large gatherings. We've even relaxed our grooming standards to ensure you can maintain proper social distancing and other hygiene measures. And if you look closely, you'll notice that I could use a trim around my ears. We have directed all commands to maximize telework opportunities and minimize manning where appropriate. Now, we've seen many of your comments on social media, and I need you to know that none of these decisions were made lightly. They were all taken with two goals in mind: keeping you and your family safe and keeping our Navy's mission readiness high. We've pulled some of the most frequently asked questions that we're seeing at the My Navy HR, and I'd like to take a minute to provide you with some responses directly from me. One of the most frequently asked questions is concern over high-year tenure since we canceled the PFA and postponed selection boards. Let me assure you that we're closely looking at our policy to ensure that no one's career is disadvantaged as a result of the coronavirus. We're carefully considering waivers, exemptions, extensions, etc., as we map out the way ahead. Let me say again that our intent is to disadvantage no sailor, and we will ensure that things like back pay, date of advancement, etc. are factored in. We'll be transparent as we do this. We'll keep you filled in as we know more. That is my pledge to you. Taking some questions directly from our Facebook page, Wyan2 Williams wants to know if anything is being put in place for pregnant service members. Wyan2, thanks for that question. We understand your concern for the health of your baby and all of our expecting sailors. And I have a daughter who's expecting right now, so I understand that personally. The CDC does acknowledge that pregnant women experience changes that make them more susceptible to viral respiratory infections. At the direction of the Office of Management and Budget, the Chief of Naval Operations and the Vice Chief have both issued guidance to maximize telework, particularly for those who are at high risk. Commanding officers have been given wide latitude to ensure members that need to be home to avoid this virus stay home. We recognize the risk to force and encourage all of our expecting moms to speak with their leadership. Speaking of moms, our next question is from Donna Asbury. Her daughter swore in last week, and she would like to know if she will be going through boot camp or sent to quarantine. Let me first just mention that we canceled the RTC graduation last week. I was supposed to be the guest speaker. It's one of the favorite things I do in this job, and all of our sailors know how special and meaningful that is. Let me just say to the sailors who would have graduated during that ceremony and to their families, I'm sorry that we had to make that call, but I do think it was the right call to minimize the risk to you and to your families that have been coming in. But Donna, getting back to your question, to slow the spread of the virus, Navy Recruiting Command will be shipping, but we'll be shipping fewer recruits than normal, about 500 per week, and that will allow us to isolate new recruits temporarily before they begin their full training. We'll put them in a 14-day restriction of movement when they get there. We'll isolate them to see if any of those future sailors have the coronavirus, to minimize that risk as they then go through the pipeline. But those sailors getting to those apprentice level billets at sea, they are mission essential, and we're doing everything we can to keep that flow going, to minimize those gaps at sea. Recruiting Command will also limit shipping from areas of the United States where significant portions of the population are affected by the coronavirus. So Donna, thanks again for trusting us with your daughter, and trust that we will take care of her as one of our future sailors. We're also receiving numerous questions on household goods shipments. FC2 Turner is separating soon, and he asked if his household goods shipment will be picked up on time. He also asked if the stop order applies to his situation. FC2, we're continuing to allow personnel to separate and retire from the Navy, and your move should not be affected. Please contact your local personnel property office to inform them of your status. Our personnel property offices are working hard to manage each specific situation with transportation providers. And if you have an issue or a concern, roll in on the My Navy Career Center Contact Center and make sure that we're helping you there. But that said, soon we will be rolling out some measures like EAOS extensions, the ability for folks to pull their retirement or separation request, etc., to try and minimize gaps at sea. So FC2, this may be something that those like you who are planning on getting out or looking at options for staying in or getting out want to consider. You'll see more on that soon. We're getting a lot of questions on Facebook about PCSing, so let's take one on that topic from HM3 Bernal. He's scheduled a PCS on 1 April from Hawaii. He wants to know if he's still allowed to execute his PCS orders. HM3, at this time, we're stopping all movements in the U.S. and our territories and to and from CDC, Center for Disease Control, Level 3 affected countries, unless they're deemed mission essential. In your situation, if you have not executed your PCS yet, you would fall under the stop movement order. However, if you've already initiated your PCS, you're authorized to continue to your next duty station. Anyone with PCS orders where you have questions should contact their detailer or the MNCC Contact Center at 833-330-6622 or send them a note at askmncc@navy.mil. Keep those questions coming, and we'll do our best to keep providing answers. I also have some new information that I want to pass along. Last night, the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness authorized the departure of eligible Department of Defense family members and civilian employees from all overseas locations. This is not a mandatory evacuation. It's an authorized departure for high-risk family members and civilian shipmates who've determined that they are at a higher risk of poor health if exposed to COVID-19 where they're at. We'll soon be posting on the My Navy HR Facebook page a NAV admin which will have specific details about this process. And as I mentioned, we're going to consolidate all the guidance from those other 3 NAV admins to give you one-stop shopping. It is a long NAV admin, probably the longest certainly that I have transmitted, but it was intended to wrap all that guidance together. Tell us if some of it's still unclear, and we'll look at making sure we clarify that in a future update. In closing, you know this is a complicated and fluid situation. It requires all of us to be flexible, to have patience. I just want to say right now that the hardworking operators at the MNCC contact centers and all of our detailers, our recruiters, our RDCs, our trainers, all of the 24,000 members of the My Navy HR team are leaning into this around the clock to get you the right answers with all possible speed and accuracy. We won't get it all right. We have higher guidance coming in on an almost daily, sometimes hourly basis. But I want you to trust that we're going to do the best we can at speed to take care of you and your families. And I'll just close by saying once again, thank you to you and your families for what you're doing each and every day. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for all the latest information. Shipmates, have a great day.